Welcome to the Local Real Estate Show. Join us each week as we hear from local real estate professionals from around the country. We'll hear their stories, get their advice on the current market trends to the best ways to get the most out of your real estate purchases, sales, or investments. Whether you're just getting started and buying your first home or you are a seasoned real estate investor, there's something here for everyone. So buckle up and get ready to hear from the people who know the real estate industry the best. Now your host, Steve Champagne.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Local Real Estate Show. Today, we'll be having a conversation with Kim Reding from Magnolia Realty. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right. So during our pre-show call, you told me that you worked for some celebrities, Chip and Joanna Gaines. Tell me about what it is to work with them and what has it meant to your business?
Well, so thanks. I work with Chip and Joanna Gaines, not directly, but with the company called Magnolia Realty, and our brokerage is based out of Waco. So if you ever watch the show Fixer Upper, we have Chip had a real estate license and a real estate brokerage. That's how they got their homes. So they were able and fortunate enough to expand it out for us. And they have little boutique shops around or brokerages around Texas, and we're one of them. So we're located in the north Denton area in Argyle, Texas.
Okay. Wow. So that must be, that's good. So it is helping you with your bringing on clients, whether it's a buyer or a seller, right?
Our reach is amazing. So yes, it's been, they created a culture of trust and honesty, and just their reach is really widespread. So it's been nice to bring on clients that know who they are. Some don't know who they are, but just the genuine trust they have with us, and sometimes just in the first conversation. So that's been really nice.
That's great. All right. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself so whoever's watching this knows who Kim Reding is?
Sure. So I'm Kim Reding, and I grew up in Texas. I've always been here. I grew up in Austin, Texas, but I've been in the Denton County area for over 20 years, mainly in Denton, Texas. My background's in education, and I was a teacher and a director of a school for many years, but now I am a realtor, and I've been a realtor for 15 years, actually. I've had my license, and then fully going full-time, all in, was about 5-6 years ago.
You've answered one of my questions. Okay. All right. So full-time for about 5-6 years. You got out of education. Why did you get it? Why did you become a realtor or a real estate agent?
Okay. So teaching doesn't pay a lot, but that was part of it. But it
Being
really did.
honest.
It's like a lot of, to be honest, and you'll see a lot of educators do something part-time to supplement their income.
Okay.
I love homes. I love working with people. I love everything about the real estate industry. For the I really do. And that was why I got into it, was thinking I would do it on the side while I was doing education. I ended up falling in love with real estate, and there's a time that you have to decide to take the leap, and I decided to take the leap.
Okay. So your side hustle became your full-time.
Absolutely.
Okay. On we call the lower third here on the video, we have Kim Reding Realtor. And, I think most people think about real estate agent and realtor are one and the same, but are they?
So they're not.
Okay.
On the technical term, a realtor and a real estate agent, they're two different things. A realtor is a part of the National Association of Realtors. So they're supposed to be, and they are, a higher ethical standards that they're adhered to and can be fined and everything else. But also, to me, a realtor is all in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was a part-time realtor, and I would do it on the side, and then I'd try to get to my clients after work or in between a break. And then a realtor now, to me, is someone that is immersed in it day in and day out, and it's their full-time job. It literally is their hustle, their livelihood.
Okay. All right. So you say you service people who are buying and selling in the Denton community. So let's first talk about, why should I be looking to either buy into the Denton market? So what's great about Denton? Tell me about Denton.
Everything is great about Denton. Okay. So Denton, if you don't know, we call it the DFW area, Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's known as the Triangle. So you have Dallas, you have Fort Worth, and at the top you have Denton. So a lot of people are migrating north to the Denton area. Um, in fact, we just did one. It's Denton County, but I was looking at the stats. So it's 82 people a day move to Denton County. So that is massive. And to me, Denton County or Denton, Texas, actually, just that community, it is a wonderful community. It's known for their music, their colleges, but also just local businesses. And if you are a foodie, if you want to support local businesses, they do that. They have so many different organizations that have little mom and pop shops. We have the Denton Farmers Market. We have the Denton Jazz. There is everything to do in Denton, and it's all centered around the town square of Denton. And so you'll see all these cool little speakeasies and shops. And a lot of people travel from Dallas and Fort Worth to come eat up there because you'll
Okay.
find a little hole in the wall. So I just love it. And the people are amazing.
Okay. All right. So I've been, thinking of a new place to probably move to. I may have to go check
Okay.
out Denton.
Yeah. I would
Okay.
love
All
to
right.
too.
Let's talk about the real estate scene in Denton. What is real estate
Okay.
like right now? And from houses on the market, time on market, that type of stuff.
Okay, sure. So time on market for Denton, I think it's segmented, right? Because it's always the same thing. If you
Mhm.
have a house that is in the perfect location and it's like I always say a one story because a one story I look at marketability. You
Mhm.
market to seniors, you market to first time home buyers. A lot of people fit that category.
Yep.
If that is the perfect home in a perfect location, you're going to have multiple offers still, right?
Mhm.
Not as crazy as it was a few
Mhm.
months ago that no one really enjoyed that. It's going
Mhm.
back to the way it was. If it's an average home, it stays about 3 months on the market. 3 to 6 months. So that's your average. But if you look at it, it's been growing. So, and I have some stats I'm going to read to
Yeah.
you real
Go.
quick.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So in February in Denton, the actives were 31, right? There are 31 active homes in Denton in February. But
Okay.
in March right now, it's 75.
Okay.
So it's more than doubled for active homes. And then pending in February, we had 30. And then pending since March, we had 115. So
Okay.
it is literally just growing. And that's the right season to do that. So we've had about 154 sold in March. So I mean, I think that's pretty good. And the way the Dallas area is growing is everything's getting pushed up, that the center of Dallas is actually growing up more north and more north. So more people are moving closer to the Denton area. And your average house in Denton could be
Mhm.
anywhere from 400,000 to about 600,000. Now we do
Okay.
have homes around 250,000 all the way up to 4 million.
Mhm.
It just matters where your pocket is, and where you want to set your roots.
So let's talk about the first time home buyer. And I got a bunch of
Sure.
questions I want to ask you about,
Yeah.
purchasing. But you say the median house price is between 4 and 6 in the market.
Right.
How much inventory is there for the person who's just coming into the home buying space as a first time
Right.
home buyer that, the 250, the 300, 225 is probably the right price for them?
Right.
Fair amount of inventory there, or is it hard pickings?
So I would say, like, I'm sitting here thinking about it. There is available homes there for them. It
Mhm.
is around, I would say right now with our 75 active that we were just talking about, I
Mhm.
would say about 25% of that
Mhm.
would be in that price range, even up to 30%. So there's
Mhm.
all different options of it. And Denton runs into a bunch of different other communities that you
Mhm.
can find the right home for them. And there's a lot of first time home buyers moving up the I-35 corridor, which is what's projected for us. A lot of new home buyers coming up in this area, going up 35, because they work from home. A lot of them work from
Mhm.
home right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that leads me into some FAQ sections of
Oh,
this
okay.
podcast. But I want to talk about purchasing first of all. Okay.
Okay.
Now, people wonder, first time home buyer
Right.
or anyone who's looking to buy a home, like, do I really need a real estate agent? What does a real estate agent do for me that on the buyer side of a purchase?
Right. I
What is it?
think that's a great question.
Okay.
And it's important because they do need a real estate agent. I mean, think about this. It's their first time they've ever bought a home, or someone who's bought a home maybe 3 times in their lifetime. I do this every single day, all week long. Just even last year to this year, our laws have changed and they need to be protected. And they're paying for our experience and our time. And it's just really important for them to understand that even builders or even people that sell their homes on their own, and they say, hey, I'm going to sell this on my own. They don't realize the impact of what they could have saved, what they didn't do lawfully. Just so many things that we've seen. And even, not all builders, but some builders are fine with you not being represented and you
Mhm.
signing because you're signing some documents that show that there's no inspection afterwards. There isn't a time frame as far as when they can be done, or you have a non-refundable deposit. And we've had people call us afterwards going, man, I wish I would have used you. And
So
a lot of people, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So representation is important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So, which leads me into this question: how does the
Okay.
offer and negotiation process work between buyer and seller?
So when both of them have representation, the
Mhm.
agent on the other end, for the most part, if it's in the same area, we've all done this for a while. We actually have built rapport with each other. So that's a good thing too, especially when there's multiple offers. But the way we do it first is we find out the needs of the seller. If I represent the buyer, we find out what the needs are of the seller. It might not be price, it might be, a lease back, it might be time on
Mm.
market, it might be a divorce situation. So you start your negotiations with that. And then we
Mhm.
start with our offers afterwards. So you got to kind of lay out a plan and have a strategy before.
Okay. Um, what happens with what happens during the home appraisal process? So they made an offer, you're getting an
Okay.
appraisal. What's the process there?
For sure. So an appraisal process is what we do when the buyers are buying the house, and you have to have an appraisal from the lender to make sure that it appraises so you can get the money for the loan. And during that appraisal process, the appraiser comes and evaluates it. He looks at the location, he looks at the comparables, he looks at price per square foot and upgrades. So we're waiting on the buyer side to see what our house is, going to appraise for. And hopefully what we want is for it to appraise above, of course. And then the seller is waiting on the other side, hoping it appraises. Because if it doesn't, then you're going to have to either renegotiate or the buyer gets to walk away from the deal.
Okay. Um, first time home buyers are probably really wondering, how much of a down payment do I need? Can I get away with it? No money down, 3%
Right.
down, 20% down. What's your take on down payments?
So down payments are really important. And so I'd love for you to save as much as you can. But I just had a buyer though that is a second time home buyer do a VA loan, and she put nothing down. So it matters what type of loan that you have. So you got to really speak to your lender. And we have people putting 5 to 20% down. 20% down, you can get rid of your PMI, right?
Mhm.
Which is your mortgage insurance. But we've had 5% down and then they paid off their mortgage insurance. So I would talk to your lender and see what your best route is. If you need the cash on hand, look at the lower amount, but know that your payments are going to be a little bit higher, and verify all that, I would say with a local lender or somebody that your agent or I could recommend as well.
Okay. I'm going out. I want to go start shopping for a house, and
Sure.
someone says, get pre-qualified or pre-approved.
Correct.
What's the difference?
We get this all the time. All right. So we would love for you to be pre-approved. But when I first meet somebody, we do a consultation, and this is on the buy side. We asked you to get a pre-qualification letter. That gives you enough information to know what house you can afford. We have
Mhm.
so many people looking online at everything, and they want $500,000, $800,000 house, and they're qualified for 400. So pre-qualification, you talk to a lender, you get pre-qualified, and they just do the beginning parts of what you qualify for. And you need to do that before you go look at a home. It's so important. And then pre-approval, like you said, is or like we were talking about, is where they are fully qualified. It sets you up. If you are pre-approved and we are listing on a house, it's almost as much as cash in some aspects of it for a seller, because you are already through the process. We don't have to wait 18 days to find out where you are. You are
Mhm.
already pre-approved. You've given all your tax information to them. So, of course, pre-approval would be where we'd like for you to be if possible.
Okay, that's great. Well, that's wraps up this part of the interview when it comes to some
Okay.
buyers' questions. Let's talk about
Sure.
sellers have questions. So
They do.
they do, huh? So how do you determine the current market value of a property that you're going to list?
Okay. So we do a lot of research. The current market value used to be price per square foot. You take the price
Mm.
per square foot and times it by the square footage of the home and you get their price. Now you look at competition. Well, you always did this, but it plays more into the factor because you got to look at everything now. The factor of that, the location, the upgrades they've done on their home. And so we look at everything and to evaluate the price of their home. But I can tell you, I've had some that have just had other issues and they've sold it for less than what the value was. So you have to really do your homework on the seller. And then to get the market value, honestly, if you put it out there for $1, your house will raise up to its market value. So I don't know if anybody will ever do that, but it'd be awesome
Mhm.
if you would list your house for $1 and see what happens.
See what happens and just
Mhm.
I'm trying to think that I think someone has actually tried to sell their house that way before, and it
They
does.
have them?
Yeah, and the house actually, you're right, it will literally go up to market, the
Right.
pricing. Okay, so you're selling your house
Okay.
and, you gotta there's some things you should do, fix her up, repairs. What's your take on getting these repairs or, touch-ups done to the house before listing?
Right. So we have a stager that comes in and does a walkthrough with you and we talk about it. And I'm with them too. And we request that you fix everything that you know because you're gonna have to disclose it anyhow.
Mhm.
So fixing everything and leaving it the way you would want to be found. So I would recommend fixing up the house the best way you can. And keeping all the receipts for it so we could prove that for when someone else comes to purchase your house. And also, you have a lot of competition now with new builds. New builds are everywhere. I mean, I can
Mhm.
12 different new builds in Denton, new builders
Mhm.
in Denton. And your house has to look almost like that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Um, we touched on it at the beginning of the show, best time to
Yep.
sell. When is
Sure.
the best time to list your home? I know I figure we're going into the buying season now, but is that typically it? Spring and fall, summer? What's your take?
No, you're right. You're right, Steve. It's March, probably March all the way through August. It's kind of honestly, it's based around school
Yep.
season. So you see that where kids are about to be out in June and July. And so all this time everyone's prepping probably after Easter gets really busy. You can tell by my stats how it's been ramping up.
Yep.
And then also though 2 years ago, December was our busiest time. So and I do a lot of relocations as well, and they are moving
Mhm.
all the time. So the businesses are relocating people all the time up to the DFW area. And anytime's a good time. If you want to see the market start rising though, which is consistent and you can look at that, it'd probably be right after Easter until the end of August, September.
Okay, so for all you folks out there, that are on the fence, this is the time to list your house.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, how do you handle multiple offers for your seller?
Okay. So multiple offers in Texas, how we're supposed to handle them is we open the house. The house is one day on the market. We have multiple offers. We leave it open for 2 days. Some preference. What's the seller dictates. So whatever they tell us, we'll do. But usually it's 2 to 3 days over that weekend, and
Mhm.
we take all the offers and we let everybody know we are in multiple offer situation. Please send your highest and best. And we
Mhm.
take all of them on this date and we're going to look at them. And then we go through each one of them at the same time. And then we discuss them. And then we make a plan of first, second, third. Actually, we take our top three. Most of us do. And then
Mhm.
after that, we'll start eliminating based on what their criteria is and what's important for that seller. So we don't
So
go ahead.
I'm assuming cash and being pre-approved is
Correct.
the ideal situation in a multi-offer
Yeah.
situation. Okay.
That's where you want to have that pre-approval. Thank you for saying that. You're right,
Okay.
because I've had pre-approval win over cash because sometimes people go lower with cash thinking that's going to win their offer when the pre-approved person is just as far as the cash offer.
Yeah.
And and so it's equivalent. So then we look at, are they paying for title? Are they paying for home warranty? All these things that your realtor would understand.
Mm-hmm. Like there's a gazillion questions we can ask around both buy and sell, but I got a couple more here for
Okay.
and I think people want to know this. What is the average real estate commission for a real estate agent? How's
And
that
this is
work?
okay. So representing the seller, the average commission is 6%. And when I say that, it's 3% on the buyer side, the buyer's agent, and 3% on the selling agent side. So I
Okay.
think that's really important to understand. You got to talk to your realtor and be educated, and hopefully they're educating you as well to know what percentage you're paying on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. The next one is the last question I have for a seller because I've sold my home.
Right.
What do I do with the money? And is this thing the IRS has called a 1031 exchange? What
Okay,
is that?
Yeah. People have asked this one before, and I've managed a lot of 1031 exchange. Even my family, my mom and dad and us have a 1031 exchange we do. So a 1031 is where you take a home. It has to be a like home. So the home that you have, and you probably have a lot of money that you've made off of it or capital gains. It's deferring your taxes. So you get with a lawyer or one that works with 1031 exchanges, and you have to buy another home that it's equal to, right? You can't go buy a building and then buy a little home. It has to be like buildings. And then you take the proceeds of that, and you have 45 days to do that and find another home just like it. And so it's deferring your taxes. So when you do sell again, and you have 180 days until you have to close the deal.
All right. So you gave 2 day numbers at 45 and 180. So you have
45 days to locate. Yeah, you're right. 45 days to locate, and then 130 days till it closes, or 180 days till it closes. Sorry.
All right. So 45 days to find another property.
Correct.
And so if you find it on the 46th day, your tax obligation is due, correct?
From what I understand, yes.
All right. So that's what I know you're not an accountant. I'm not trying to peg you down in on this, but okay.
Thank you.
I figured someone wanted to know what that is. All right.
Yes, it gets stressful, right? Because you get past that 45 days and you're obligated, and you got to talk to your lawyer about that for sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up this interview. And I always wrap up with this question.
All right.
Why should someone do business with you over your competition, whether they're looking to buy or sell their home?
Okay. That's a good question. My passion and the expertise that we have and that I have, and working with people from the ground up, from the beginning to the end, I am with you through all of it. The negotiation skills, the marketing. I have a listing concierge. I have a beautiful team that we've built together that works on giving people the best service that they deserve, and that and that we want to give to them. So that is me. I'm here with you through it all. I develop a relationship with them. I educate them, and I feel like my service stands out differently from others, and in a good way. And that's really important. So, I find the perfect home for that next stage in life for somebody, and it's really important that I meet them where they're at.
That's a good answer. All right. So how can someone get a hold of you if they're looking to buy or sell a home? What's your number? What's the best number? What's the best number for you?
Best number is, you can call me at 940-300-5847.
Okay.
Again, and then if not, they can go to kimreding.com. So KIMREDING.com.
Well, Kim, thanks very much for coming on the show. That's it, folks. Until the next episode, take care and make it a great day. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Local Real Estate Show. If you are a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, or a closing company and would like to be a guest on an upcoming show, please visit thelocalrealestateshow.com for more information. Thanks for listening.